Yo, what's poppin', people? Your boy Snacks is back in the building with another banger. And you know how we do. Before we get started, we got to give a shout out to you, the viewer, for taking the time out to watch this video. But while you're here, do us a solid. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn your post notification bell on. And don't forget, you can always join that member section where we will have exclusive videos and exclusive live streams for all of the members involved. But you know, we will not start a video without first giving a shout out to our beautiful, beautiful ladies of the CUNT. So when you see them in the chat or see them in the comment section, make sure you say what's up to them. And don't forget to be respectful at all times. And we hate to come find you. But let's get to the meat of this situation because we ain't going to keep you long today. Kevin Stefanski is still trying to humble Shedeur Sanders. The Cleveland Browns are divided on what to do with Shedeur Sanders. They've never had a personality this big. And if Kevin Stefanski don't get it right and don't get it together real soon, his ass going to be fired. But let's talk about it. Pittsburgh week. And it seems that Bailey Zappy is the choice for the week to be QB2 with Joe being traded. Y'all know who Joe is. Old man Joe. Joe freaking cool. Now Cincinnati got two Joes. Joe Cool 1 and Joe Cool 2. Not in Joe Cool, but Joe Cool. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Stefanski, I told y'all that seat gonna get hot. That seat is starting to heat up. Because remember, Kevin Stefanski said earlier in the week that he was not going to name a QB2. He was going to wait on it. He was going to wait till the end of the week to see when things unfolded. And I told you that Bailey Zappy would be QB2. Kevin Stefanski was cowardly in not naming Bailey Zappy QB2 when he had the opportunity to do it in public. He didn't want to do it in public because he didn't want to face the scrutiny and he didn't want to answer the questions of why would you put Bailey Zappy in front of Shadour Sanders? Why would you move Bailey Zappy from the practice squad and move him up to QB2? You can't make him your emergency quarterback. To make Bailey Zappy his emergency quarterback, he has to sign him to the roster, the 53-man roster. He can move Shedeur around wherever they want, but that's not the case. The case is that Kevin Stefanski is scared that Shedeur is going to outshine Dillon Gabriel, and he knows that's what's next. And he knows that Pittsburgh is headhunting this week, and it's more than likely that Dillon Gabriel could get hurt this week. It's a bigger possibility that Dillon Gabriel gets hurt this week than any other week of the season because you're playing a rivalry game, because you're playing a division opponent, and they simply don't like each other. Because you're playing one of the most tenured quarterback in the NFL, the only quarterback in the NFL to not have a losing season. And they are coming. And they are coming hard. People have run up the excuse for Dillon Gabriel all last week. All last week after Sunday's game versus Minnesota, people have said that Dillon Gabriel played an exceptional game. Dillon Gabriel played a good game against that Minnesota defense, against that Minnesota offensive coordinator. Minnesota played a vanilla defense against Dillon Gabriel. They didn't play Minnesota defense. They didn't give him the looks that they would give other quarterbacks. It seems to me, if you go back and watch that tape, Minnesota played very friendly to Dillon Gabriel. It seems like there was a gentleman's agreement that if you don't send your people, if you don't play your defense in the best manner that you've been playing all season, you'll get the win. Just don't make my quarterback look horrible. Yes, I'm putting it out there that there was a gentleman's agreement in England not to make Dillon Gabriel look bad in his first time under center. Because Minnesota played very, very, very gingerly. They didn't play aggressive as they would normally play. You would think that defensive coordinator with that defense, as aggressive as he sends those guys on blitzes, the disguises they put on defenses with the looks, none of that happened on Sunday, and no one is calling it into question. Minnesota didn't play Minnesota football on Sunday. Yeah, they got the win, but Minnesota defense was not Minnesota's defense on this past Sunday when they played the Cleveland Browns. But going into Pittsburgh, that's going to be a whole different story. Ain't nobody saving shit. They coming, and they coming hard. They're coming for it all. Now, we have seen a lot of pundits and a lot of people give the excuses of why you would move Bailey Zappy to quarterback 2. There is no excuse. I've heard the excuse of there's no reason to put 2 rookies. This has never been done before. A rookie has never backed up a rookie. A rookie doesn't sit in the 2 position starting the season off or during the season. And to that, my friend, I'll say all of you that tell those stories are lies. This season alone, in New Orleans, who is your backup quarterback? A rookie. In New York, starting the season, who was your backup quarterback? A rookie. 2 rookies have never backed, a rookie has never backed up a rookie. In 2014, when RG3 and Kirk Cousins was drafted, who backed up RG3? A rookie in Kirk Cousins. See, the excuses that these pundits keep trying to give are all bullshit. All of them can be debunked. All of them can be explained away. But why are we making excuses for Kevin Stefanski? Why is Kevin Stefanski going out of his way to tell us that Shadour Sanders is not ready? It's a lie. We seen it in the preseason. Oh, he's ready. You can throw that last preseason game out the window because we know what happened and we know why it happened. But telling us that Shadour Sanders is not ready is a lie. Telling us Shadour Sanders can't play in the NFL is a lie. Kevin Stefanski is on his way out the door because Dillon Gabriel is going to prove him wrong. Dillon Gabriel is Kevin Stefanski's guy, and he wants to be right. But if he plays Shedeur Sanders, he knows that Dillon Gabriel will not be allowed to touch the field again. The proof is in the pudding. You started the season out with 4 quarterbacks, traded one. Your senior quarterback, Joe Flacco, started 3-4 games. Gone. You're left with 2 rookies. You bring in Bailey Zappy while Joe is still here. Put Bailey Zappy on the practice squad. Joe gets traded out. Dillon is upgraded to QB1. There's only 2 other quarterbacks left, and one is on the practice squad, not even on the roster. And that quarterback gets elevated to QB2. But they keep trying to tell you that we are developing him. How? Where? The third string or the practice squad quarterback gets no reps during the week. How are you preparing him? How are you getting him ready? By preparing with the practice squad? How does that get him reps with the number 1 and number 2 offensive receivers and line? It doesn't. There is no preparation for Shedeur Sanders when it comes to running this offense, when it comes to being a part of this team. Kevin Stefanski is on a mission to absolutely ruin Shadour Sanders' standing in the NFL by telling people continuously that he's not ready. Kevin Stefanski's judgment, coaching acumen, and the ability to prepare and get quarterbacks ready for the season should be in question. But he keeps wanting to tell you that he's not ready. He keeps wanting you to believe that Shadour Sanders is not prepared for the upcoming season, for the games that are taking place right now. He is not available to back up Dillon Gabriel. The people that sit in those seats on TV and in podcasts, a lot of them want to tell you it's in the best interest of Shedeur to play quarterback 3 so you can be prepared the week of whenever they decide to put you in. No, that is not true. That is not true. He didn't and wasn't prepared the week of before he started in the preseason, because all of your quarterbacks all of a sudden got hurt, and all of a sudden he was thrust into the spotlight, into that starting position. Well managed, I would say. But yet and still, everybody keeps making excuses for this 2-time coach of the year who doesn't have a winning record in Cleveland, who hasn't performed or shown the capability to win football games, even when you have a roster full of talent. When Kevin Stefanski arrived in Cleveland, the roster was good. It was ready to go. Good quarterback, good receivers, great defense, two good running backs. And none of them are currently in Cleveland right now. In 5 years, Kevin Stefanski has only been to the playoffs twice. The second time was luck, because Joe Flacco showed up, played out of his mind, never to do that again. I'm asking you, in your heart of hearts, in your very critical thinking, do you really think that Kevin Stefanski has Shadour Sanders' best intentions in mind? Because I don't see it. I can't tell. I don't see how they do. And Mace feels the same way.
Me and D Haslam, the owners of the Cleveland Browns, y'all gotta cut it out. Whatever is going on there is becoming too obvious that you're trying to break the kid here, because realistically, he should be in the game already. I know you're trying to try out another quarterback. You're trying to make sure that whatever you do, you get your point across them. It's becoming more and more ridiculous on you guys' part. You're not winning, so it's not like you're not having them on the floor on the field because you guys are winning and you're trying to preserve something. At this point, it seems like you're just trying to go as far as you can to get a negative response out of him, and we don't like it. Not just because we're Brown, we don't like it because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to athletes. It doesn't make sense to entertainers. It doesn't make sense to the whole football community. I know whatever you guys talked about, it's just the gig is up, man.
And the gig is definitely up. See, I was going to make some other points in this video, but right now they're unnecessary. We'll use them later. But right now, Kevin Stefanski does not have Shadour Sanders' best interest in mind. Kevin Stefanski has his own best interest in mind because their seat is fixing to get hot. Dillon Gabriel has to perform, and he has to perform at an extraordinary level to save Kevin Stefanski's job. Because at this point, I'm questioning what are Kevin Stefanski's intentions. What type of punishment do you think this is for Shadour Sanders? He's going to survive. He's going to thrive. And if you let Shadour Sanders go through this year without playing, you will be fired. And when Shadour Sanders plays this season, you're going to try and take credit for it. And we're not going to believe you. Because when Shadour Sanders plays, and when he plays well, Kevin Stefanski is going to try and poke his chest out and say, see, I told you. I prepared him to be this good. I got him ready to play this game. I made sure that he was good. And we as a fan base and as a collective are not going to believe you, sir, because we already know that he prepares daily, that he is already shown that he can do this. You just want to be right and praying that Dillon Gabriel is somewhat a modicum of what Shadour Sanders is, so you can say, well, we got our guy, and then go out next year and put Dillon Gabriel on the bench simply because you didn't want to be stuck with Shadour Sanders. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say this and say this out loud. Whenever Shadour Sanders plays, he's going to show out. And it's going to be directed directly at Kevin Stefanski. And if you are there when Shedeur becomes the starting quarterback, the power dynamic will shift and retribution will be had. Meaning, once Shadour Sanders plays for the Cleveland Browns and they get to see it, and Shadour Sanders becomes the number one quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski will be fired on site, because Shadour Sanders will demand that I want a coach that believes in me, that has faith in me, that will put me in situations to succeed. Kevin Stefanski is not doing himself any favors by trying to belittle and downplay Shadour Sanders as a quarterback. He's going to reap what he sows. And I hope retribution is given out swiftly and painfully, as Kevin Stefanski has tried to downplay and humble and belittle Shedeur Sanders by putting practice squad players above him as a quarterback. Bailey Zappy has been to the Cleveland Browns, has been a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and been cut. He's also been to other teams and been cut. And you want to tell me he's what the Cleveland Browns need now? Didn't you just do that with Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco was your quarterback who come off the couch in 2023. Won 5 games and went to the playoffs, and the real Joe Flacco showed up. You cut him and did not bring him back in 2024. So in 25, you decided we're going to spin the block. We're going to bring Joe back. And Joe is gone once again. Kevin Stefanski is a fraudulent 2-time coach of the year. Joe Flacco got lucky, fell into a groove, and he won coach of the year. He had Baker Mayfield and all of those players when they won in 2020, and Kevin Stefanski won coach of the year. But in between that, it has been awful. But you tell me. We're going to drop some more. But you tell me. But don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Kevin Stefanski is a fraud. Kevin Stefanski is trying to humble Shadour Sanders. And it's not going to work. Shadour Sanders is not going to change who he is to play quarterback for you. You're scared. You're going to get fired either way it goes. So you might as well go out doing it the way you want to do it. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here, man. Y'all have a good day. We're going to drop some more. I'm going to holler at y'all. I'm out of here. Peace.